Alright, good evening everyone. Welcome back. Going live again today. Give everyone an opportunity who wasn't here this morning to add any additional feedback. Going to begin sharing to social media. We'll be on our way. Let's see what kind of audience we get this afternoon. Okay, Christopher Robert, welcome in. Saying what's up. Alright, well, thank you, Christopher, for hopping in. We're just going over a few things, such as this mid-latitude cyclone that has formed over the last 12 hours or so. Has undergone rapid intensification over the last 6 hours or so, I'd like to say. So let me zoom back out and let's play this over again, because it originally I pointed out this area for development, but my gut corrected me to this area, and it turned out to be correct. I'm just waiting for this loop, excuse me, to render. It's almost there. But watch this area here, because this area undergoes rapid cyclogenesis over the last 6 hours. Like, look at that thing. That thing is a beauty. Christopher, geez, I'm already messing up my words. Bear with me. Woke up from a nap not too long ago, so I'm still trying to get myself all the way there. Anyways, I'm playing a little 6-hour loop. Christopher says he's from Astoria, Oregon. Welcome. Glad to see you on the stream. And I do appreciate you tuning in. I'm just posting this link to Facebook, and then we can really get things on the road here. So I went live earlier today to address some of these questions for a weather Q&A for the incoming system and the system currently affecting us. This is a second opportunity for those who are still awake to come and join in who couldn't make it this morning. Okay, notification is live on Facebook. That should definitely help. Alright, to all three viewers, hello, welcome in. This is Anthony with Puget Sound Stormwatch, live again for the second time today. Depending on how things go, I'm looking for somewhere between a 9:30 to 10 o'clock wrap-up time. Although if we do have an audience later on, I will definitely stay on to answer some more questions and address any comments you may have. Right now we're just looking at a wide satellite view with embedded radar. This is our front that came through today. The previous area of circulation that came in. Hoping we get big windstorms this year, November, December. I'm hoping if we do, they stay off the coast like this, keeping the strongest of winds well off the coast and just being some eye candy on satellite, like this one, for example. Just watching this area as well. This area certainly has some interest as well. It looks like it's already at baroclinic leaf stage, but it could also be part of the jet extension going across the Pacific. So this could be atmospheric river style moisture back here. Love to keep eyes on the models to see if this does anything to us in the near future. Definitely looks like an atmospheric river plume, but don't quote me on that right now. This is definitely our main area of interest. And just look at how quickly that thing formed out of thin air. Just incredible. We overlay it with isobars. See, it's already at 978 millibars according to the European model. Let's go back to current. So it's got the secondary area of low pressure that's orbiting around it. And model guidance suggests that these will have a little Fujiwara effect around one another. But eventually this area of low pressure will be absorbed by this one. And they'll just become one big mass that will eventually start to degrade and weaken as it nears our coast. Whew, yeah, I'm getting a lot of questions pouring in on Facebook, so I'm hoping that I can address a lot of those questions here on YouTube if they decide to migrate over. Seeing a lot of lightning over Nevada right now, so those are the little flashes, and you might hear the little sound effects. So that's just what that is. It's the lightning detector on windy. To anyone just hopping in, I do appreciate the person who liked the stream. Thank you for helping those algorithms. To the 5 of you hopping in, hello, welcome. My name is Anthony. I'm your host and founder of Puget Sound Stormwatch, Facebook and YouTube, expanding our horizons. Just keeping our eyes peeled on this current 978 millibar mid-latitude cyclone nearing our way. So this is probably around the strongest that it's going to be. It may deepen by a couple more millibars, but for the most part, it should have already hit peak intensity. So it'll slow down its ascent towards Vancouver Island and rapidly begin to weaken. And let me show you what the model runs are suggesting as of recent. Let's go to surface pressure. It's already appearing much deeper than it shows on the European deterministic. So The deterministic has it peaking now to around 973 millibars right here. This is 5 p.m. tomorrow. It starts to pull towards the north a little bit. See, it does that little wobbling, the little Fujiwara effect as it absorbs that secondary area of low pressure. They're going to revolve around each other, and that's really going to help influence its path. And watch just how quickly now, and actually with the newest European, yeah, it brings this low pressure system quite a bit farther south than it predicted in the last one. Luckily, it's weakening rapidly as it moves into this point, because if it were to move in full strength, that would be devastating. But thankfully, it's not. So it has the weakening process really beginning tonight's Monday, so it has the weakening process really beginning tomorrow night as it moves in closer. So this is what it should be like now. This is 8 p.m. These are in 3-hour increments. So it has it deepening to 977 millibars at around 11. As you see here, it's already at 978. So it appears to be deeper than what the models are showing already. And let's just hope this thing remains on track to move to our north and weaken rapidly. Boy, if even one thing goes off as forecast, then we could definitely be in for it. Let's compare it between deterministics. Same exact thing on the GFS, albeit a few miles to the west. Yeah, the GFS has it pulling south a bit, and then just deteriorating into nothing off the Oregon coast. So a few minor discrepancies showing up in the storm track now. See what the artificial intelligence model has to say. Yeah, artificial intelligence has it pulling to the south a little bit as well. Then the Canadian. 12Z Canadian pretty much agrees with the European. Has it peaking at 976. It has this intensity between 8 a.m. and 5 p.m. tomorrow, 976 millibars. And then staying nearly stationary. And this time, fizzling off the Washington coast. Now, if we look at some ensemble forecasts here, been a surprising amount of agreement with the ensembles. And see, it still pulls it off into central Vancouver Island a bit. The European has a peak central pressure of 977 millibars tomorrow morning. AI forecast system has it at 980. So 980 peak intensity. American ensemble members has it looks like right around 979. 5 p.m. tomorrow, 979. And pulls it right off the Washington coast. Then the Canadian ensemble. Alright. Soggy Waffle, hello, welcome in. Perhaps a precursor for what's to come in the next couple months. Yeah, certainly a precursor. It's about time. It looks like we've turned on the storm train at long last. So the Canadian ensemble, the most recent 12Z, pulls it directly into central Vancouver Island still. Yeah, actually, we should be starting to render this new 0Z here soon. The Canadian only runs twice a day compared to 4 times a day for the rest of the models. Of course, now we need to look at the high-res cam models. So unfortunately, the little cutoff here really isn't going to help our case. So we'll just have to base it off of what the L says here. We don't really have a super reliable storm track on this one. However, the NAM is showing the center of low pressure hanging on quite a bit as it moves into central Vancouver Island. It has it at 997 millibars as it makes descent, which should bring a pretty noticeable gale to a lot of the inland areas as well. The strongest winds are expected to stay off the coast, along the northern flanks of the Olympics and the northwest inland waters. So the NWS in Seattle currently has a wind advisory for parts of the coast as well as the San Juan Islands, for wind gusts up to 45 miles per hour a few miles inland. Also a high surf advisory along the coast, so they're expecting, I believe it was 14 to 18 foot surf. So going to be really robust wave conditions tomorrow afternoon and Wednesday morning. It looks like the NAM has peak pressure around 978 millibars. So right around what we're seeing right here right now. Let me just make sure I have a refreshed image for you guys as well. Pull up some isobars. So, yep, same exact ordeal. Yeah, so far, seems like the NAM's got this thing in the bag. Nice downpour Maple Valley. Yeah, I guess I didn't even bother to look at the radar, did I? I was so enthused with the visible satellite off the coast. Yeah, certainly some heavy rain showers out there right now behind the front. These are the post-frontal showers coming in. Wouldn't be surprised if someone got a quick little thunderclap out of this that we didn't really hear about. But yeah, an hour ago, heavy spotty showers around the area. So this is 1 minute ago. Heaviest rain showers between Sammamish, Duval, and Black Diamond right now. So Duval and Black Diamond getting the heaviest rain showers. Heavy rain showers up in Abbotsford, BC as well, stretching down towards Linden. And some heavier showers moving off into the foothills of the Southern Cascades near Mossy Rock. Okay, Brittany, welcome to the chat. It's all right. It's never too late to join. Thank you for tuning in today. Very much appreciated. There we go. That is the image of a lifetime right there. Is this an unusual system? No. So, yeah, it's not too unusual. You usually see these during the... Hang on, I'm just adding a moderator real quick. Okay, Matthew Fab just made you a moderator. Welcome to the chat, by the way. This is unusual. No, so we see these systems all the time, especially during the fall and winter. They usually just stay at their peak intensity, usually to our north and west. So you typically see something like this up in the Gulf of Alaska trough. Hanging on at full strength is unusual, and this one will not do that. This will really begin to rapidly decrease in strength as we go through tomorrow morning and afternoon. So this should, in theory, be the peak strength of the system at 978 millibars. At least the NAM on here shows a peak 976 tomorrow morning. So we'll see if it deepens anymore. This currently has the storm track moving into central Vancouver Island. No thunder yet. Okay. Yeah, we're not expecting thunder tonight. If we do see thunder, we're expecting it tomorrow as the outer bands and post-frontal showers start to move through. And let me show you what I mean by that real fast. So this is the front moving in. The center of low pressure is way off out here, not showing up in the lower 48 quadrant of these high resolution models. Looks like a hurricane. Yeah, it's like a mid-latitude hurricane, but with no tropical characteristics whatsoever. So you have the frontal showers move through, and then the post-frontal showers, and then we get these bands of precipitation moving through. See, the center of low pressure is somewhere right in this area here. And all of these precip bands are revolving around it repeatedly. So these are expected total precip amounts. Let me zoom in for everybody real fast. Yeah, so outside of the immediate frontal passage, it looks like most of it's going to be spotty precip at best. So this is through tomorrow morning before the front. See, possibly some areas of heavier precip. Could be convective if all turns out as some of the models are showing. It does show maybe some convective bands moving through behind the front tomorrow, but so this is the frontal passage here. And then these are all of the post-frontal bands of showers coming through. So by the end of the 60-hour period, this is Thursday at 5 a.m. This is showing really heavy precip for the Olympics, including where the Bear Gulch and Tunnel Creek fires are burning. It just still not showing too much for the Labor Mountain and Lower Sugarloaf fires on the east side. It is showing a bit here for the Wildcat, which is good news for the Wildcat fire. I'm just not seeing very much precip overall, at least on the NAM model, for these fires burning on the east slopes. Low-level clouds going good speed. Yeah, I definitely believe it. The remnants of the front are moving through pretty quick, and then immediately we're going to have this next frontal passage in about, I'm going to say, 15 hours or so. 15 hours or so from now. And then, of course, a big story is wind as well. A lot of people want to know what the wind's going to be like. So let's go to max wind gusts. And it certainly has upticked parts of the Nisqually River in the last run. So this was the 18Z, this was the 11 a.m. And then this is the 5 p.m. model run tonight. And you saw a couple of differences here. How this orange blob has moved west quite a bit. And has strengthened a little bit over the open waters, as well as some of this orange popping up just south of the Nisqually River Valley. So this is along Thurston and Lewis counties. Some possible strong outflow through the Nisqually River Valley. Although it may look like it's coming out of the east, winds should be coming out of the south at this time. Thought for a second they were rotating, but doesn't look like it now. Yeah, it's really hard at night to tell if any cells are rotating. But due to all the local terrain features and all the small little perturbations in the terrain that you can't really account for with weather models, really hard to tell if something's rotating. But over time, as time goes on, we do see more of these rotating cells on radar, especially in areas with favorable low-level wind shear, which is changing winds with height, whether it be velocity, direction, or magnitude. Brittany says, I live a little inland of the sound. Winds have been calm. Yeah, so your area, you said you're, excuse me for the pronunciation if I butcher it, but you said you were on the Lumi Island, right? Lumi Reservation? Which means you're somewhere up in here, if I recall correctly. So your area, since you're in the exposed waters, I would definitely be on the lookout tomorrow. Okay, good. Yeah, so definitely be on the lookout tomorrow for strong winds. It looks like your time period... That Lummi or Lumi? I think that's Lummi, right? Yeah, just go ahead and say if it was the first or second pronunciation. First being Lummy, second Loomy. I'm guessing Lummy though, right? So it shows the strongest period of... Okay, yes. Alright, good. Thank you for the correction. So, looks like the strongest period of winds for the inland waters is going to be between about 6 p.m. and 10 p.m. tomorrow night. And winds should be coming out of the south through the Puget Sound. Yes, first pronunciation. Alright, B, welcome back. No longer in Roy, just moved to Bucota. How's Bucota looking? Okay, so your area is right around here, so... Looks like your strongest period of winds tomorrow is going to be around 7 p.m. So some strong southerlies coming up through the I-5 corridor affecting your area. Bucota's, so you're in the contour of 40 plus mile per hour wind gusts. This area is 50 plus. A little localized area along the Nisqually here. Just a bit south of Nisqually along the Thurston-Lewis county line here. But it does show 40 miles per hour all around you. So 40 for Olympia, 40 for Chehalis, 40 for Toledo, 42 for Fort Lewis. So safe to say your favorable range is going to be 40 to 45 mile per hour wind gusts for Bucota. This is going to be probably between 6 p.m. and 8 p.m. tomorrow. But, you notice then this system's going to be hanging around for a bit before it completely diminishes. It's going to bring an extended period of 40 plus mile per hour wind gusts to the inland waters. So this includes parts of Victoria, BC, southern Vancouver Island, San Juan Islands, Whidbey Island, Camino Island, cities such as Anacortes, for example, Bellingham area. Even has some 50s popping up still. 6 p.m. Wednesday. But for sure, the strongest period of wind gusts off the coast, on the other hand, it's going to be look, clear as day frontal cutoff right there. So this is tomorrow at 5 p.m. It has wind gusts in the 55 to 60 mile per hour range across the entire Pacific Northwest coast. And this is likely where that low pressure is going to pull in, right up here. Wow, yeah. You don't really see sharp frontal cutoffs like that too often. Usually they're a little more sloppy, something like this. But yeah, clear as day. Front signature right there. Yeah, these are sustained winds right here, and these show wind direction as well. So southerlies turning to westerly behind the cold front. So you watch the southerlies pick up here around the Puget Sound. They continue, they continue, they continue. Although models aren't really showing that that southerly change over to westerly. At least not unless you're downstream of the Strait of Juan de Fuca. Probably because of how far north the cold front's going to pull in relation to most of western Washington. There's going to be sustained southerlies through the duration of this event. Oh yeah, that is a gnarly frontal signature right there. Absolutely gnarly. Alright, go back to satellites. Let's check if we have any updates. Looks like it's hanging on at 978 millibars right now. Clear as day, Sting jet signature, bent back occlusion. So this right here is what's called an occluded front from the Sting jet all the way out to about the northern flank of the area of low pressure. And then typically you get a warm front that stretches horizontally out from here, and then the cold front stretches vertically like this. So most likely your warm front's right about here, and then your cold front is this area right here. Something going on in the South Pacific, so not really. We have an area of high pressure here that's helping to steer in the jet stream right now. And if I pull up the wind map, you should really see the influence of this upper level jet. These are surface winds right now. Hey, thank you to the 2 people who just subscribed. Thank you very much. Also, you can see this, I believe, is Tropical Storm Imelda still, and then Hurricane Humberto. Luckily, both of these hurricanes are forecasted to miss land. So let's go up to 500 millibars. You can really start to see this jet stream dip into this trough. And then the ridge overhead as well. And just another strong trough out here as well. You really have to go up past 300 millibars to see it in clear detail. So this is our jet stream right here. This is what has a huge influence on these systems right now. So these systems are just catching the upper level jet over our area, and this is basically just a really fast pull of these systems into our area. For lack of better wording, it's really just, you know, think of it as an allusion to a train. So, you know, normally you'd have to walk all the way over here, right? But what if you hop on a train car to get an assist? You know, to move faster and get to your destination at a quicker pace. Thank you for doing all of this. Yes, thank you, Brittany, for tuning in. So think of these low pressure systems as if they're catching a train along the upper level jet, which is assisting in moving these systems all the way out to the northern Pacific like they are now. So just for reference, Japan's here, Russia's way up here, China, North Korea, South Korea. Though there's another developing low. So these are surface contours here, but these are upper level winds. So they may not match with what you're seeing entirely. If we go back to the surface, it looks like that Bear Clinic leaf I was looking at earlier is trying to develop into something. I do believe that the longer range models are not bringing it over here, but let me check on that real fast. We're looking at North America zoomed out here. That's the system I was watching behind this one. This is our current system moving in. Yeah, this one gets absorbed into that next system. But it looks like the developing ridge that's in the forecast over the area is going to keep these safely out to sea. So models are starting to show possibly a calmer, warmer, drier pattern forming as we go a few days into October. This is 6 days out though, so this is highly anticipated to change as we get closer. It is showing a ridge signal, which is usually warmer and drier than average. But, you know, we really need the rain as desperately as we can get it, so let's check the GFS real quick. I think the GFS had a completely different pattern at one point. Yeah, the 0Z isn't fully rendered yet, so we'll have to go to the 18Z. GFS has a similar story that has some of this troughing sneaking up underneath the ridge. So he's just got a crazy ridge signature for the Gulf of Alaska. But yeah, the GFS definitely more active in the extended term. And look at that, it has another strong cyclone, but this is 16 days out. So take this with an extreme grain of salt. This is Fantasyland at this point. Steve Robertson, hello, welcome. Just came on. Are we getting a windy time soon? Yes, so wind is expected anytime between later tomorrow morning and Wednesday morning. The likely peak winds around the area being right around sunset tomorrow afternoon. So 6 to 8 p.m. is what model guidance is showing. And because I noticed we haven't checked out the HER 3KM yet. So let's look at what the HER 3KM has to say. It rendered the 0Z earlier, so let's zoom out a bit. So HER 3KM has peak intensity of 977 millibars at 11 a.m. tomorrow. And a very similar story, brings it into almost the exact same spot as the NAM. Yeah, if that storm track moves a little more south, could definitely see some 50 plus easily in some of the open waters here. Like even the Puget Sound area. We're expecting 50 plus, upwards of 60 plus off the coast, and a 50 plus inland near the San Juans. We're not expecting anything more than 40 miles per hour for the Puget Sound. Tomorrow is expected to be the strongest winds, yes. So tomorrow afternoon would be the peak period realistically. Let's go to wind gust swath. Yeah, that's definitely indicative of maybe a low to middle end windstorm, especially along the coast. So it has Hurricane Ridge getting the strongest winds around 4 p.m. tomorrow or so. And then we start to get 50 to 55 mile per hour gusts over the San Juan Islands. This is 6 p.m. tomorrow. Notice the areas of 50 plus here in the river valleys. This is the Cowlitz. This is the Nisqually. It has 46 miles per hour for Olympia and Chehalis through 6 p.m. So it has 46 for Chehalis at 5 p.m. and then 46 for Olympia at 6 p.m. And at the same time, Tacoma area hits 40. Seattle's only at 32 miles per hour. And then possibly a secondary time of high winds later in the morning Wednesday, early afternoon Wednesday. It has SeaTac getting up to 44 miles per hour at 1 p.m. on Wednesday. Because this area, the initial strong winds are with the cold front passage. Then the secondary area of strong winds is within the area of low pressure itself as it closes in. Albeit it's going to be rapidly weakening before it makes landfall somewhere around central Vancouver Island. So it has spotty areas of 60 miles per hour along the water here in Bellingham, 54 miles per hour in Bellingham Prior, 50 miles per hour near Burlington, 45 in Everett, 46 in Seattle, 43 Renton, 44 SeaTac, 40 to 41 around the Tacoma Metro, 45 in Bremerton, 42 in Shelton, and 46 in the I-5 corridor of Thurston and Lewis counties. So now let's go back to the hourly basis, just to really help avoid any confusion. Tumwater is where I'm at. Yeah, so it is showing a period of strong winds for your area. This is at 6 p.m. tomorrow. give or take plus or minus 2 hours realistically due to model deviations. So if this is 6 p.m., then your max wind gust tomorrow should be between 4 p.m. and 8 p.m. So just plan for that time accordingly. Make sure you have any loose items outdoors secured in time. So around the same time, we'll see peak gusts here in the Salish Sea. And then a brief period of 40-mile-per-hour winds for the Central Sound. 40 to 45. Possibly around 7 to 8. Then things cool down a little bit after the front comes through. Then as the secondary area of low pressure starts to make close approach, you notice how these wind gusts really start to pick up again around the Central Sound and the North Sound area. Off the coast gets a little bit of relief from this round. I believe this is because the pressure gradient tightens over this area a little bit. It's on the southeastern flank of this area of low pressure. As shown here. So this is the center of low pressure here. And then this is the strongest wind field coming in. And at the end of this model run, still wants to bring some stronger gusts, even as far out as 5 p.m. on Wednesday, to parts of western Washington. This is at 5 p.m. and it's still showing occasional gusts in the 40 to 45 mile per hour range around here. Showing 44 at SeaTac at 5 p.m. on Wednesday. So we're definitely in for a blustery couple of days. It'll be fascinating to see just how much these models under or overperform. Because just this morning, we had a 51 mile per hour gust at Whidbey Island on the Naval Air Station that no model showed whatsoever. Live in a bowl, so to speak, mile or so from Lummi Bay. Yeah, your area is going to be susceptible to strong to possibly damaging winds from this event for sure. So I would definitely hunker down if I were you. You know, it's our first quote-unquote windstorm of the season. Some trees still have a lot of leaves on them, and the ground is brittle. It's definitely prime conditions to bring some trees down in this area. So just as a heads up, the winds may not appear to be strong, but the ground conditions and conditions of the trees do favor some damage with the setup like this. Okay, Semerin says, so much rain this morning on Vashon over by Point Robinson. Felt refreshing. I'm excited for more. It was definitely refreshing. It was good to see. I didn't have to water the lawn. It did it itself, thankfully. I laid a bunch of grass seed down a few days ago. Some more of it a week ago or so, and I started to see some of the grass seed germinate already, which was really, really nice to see. And it was just enough rain so that it didn't fall all at one time, so I didn't have to worry about the seeds washing out. Although, with some of these heavier showers in the forecast tomorrow, I am concerned. Look, see, like right there. Yeah, so the HER 3KM showing thunderstorm activity. This is Wednesday morning. It's showing a lot of it Tuesday afternoon too. Let me zoom out to give you guys the bigger picture, because I have seen stronger indications for some storms to form behind the front. And some of these models were showing embedded little squalls within the front as well. This would probably be the best chance of a waterspout potential off the coast. Within these little rain squalls, these broken little areas within the front here, that's where you can get favorable low-level shear for waterspout development. Then it has some thunderstorms making landfall in northern Oregon, southern Washington, around 7 p.m. tomorrow. and possibly some of these making it into the Puget Sound overnight. This has some thunderstorms over the Puget Sound, Whidbey Island, Camino Island, all the way up into Whatcom County at 4 a.m. Wednesday. But then the mode becomes a bit sloppy as we go on throughout the day. We'll just have to see what goes on with these outer confluence bands here, because this is probably 100 miles or so from the outside of the low center. This is where you likely see the most favorable low-level wind shear outside of the initial frontal boundary itself. So it's showing several chances. Yeah, so now we're looking at lightning and flash intensity. That's showing several chances for seeing isolated thunderstorms around western Washington. Perhaps the greatest chance being sometime Wednesday afternoon as that center of low pressure makes its closest approach. Let's go check out some Facebook comments real quick. Wow, they are just coming in right now. Would microbursts be possible during these transitions? So, the only time I ever recall us having a microburst was during May 4th, 2017, during that severe weather outbreak that we had. I know a lot of you probably heard about that microburst over Lacey. Extremely rare around here. So, these storms, although they do look outflow dominant, are nowhere near as organized as an elevated storm setup. As in something with, your typical upper level trough coming in from the south and bringing in moisture from the southeast. We had that event a few times over the years, such as August 17th, 2024, March 26th, 2025, and a couple times recently as well, like a few weeks ago when we had that thunderstorm event. That was from an upper level setup. This is more of a surface level setup, and doesn't exactly favor strong convective winds usually, as in like downdrafts. So most of the wind is going to stay exclusive to the area of low pressure and the cold front, which means it won't be based off of thunderstorm activity, most likely. However, earlier I did see some previous runs of the HER 3KM pick up on some convective wind activity as these storms move through. Let me see if I can pick it up again one more time. Yeah, it's definitely showing it again. You notice how the area of green right here correlated with the radar. So we could possibly see some 30 to 35 mile per hour gusts within some of these storms if they hang on. It's almost a clear as day signature there compared to the radar. But yeah, a lot of these winds are going to be exclusive to the low pressure, not the storms themselves. Sherry says, is there a way to set up notifications when you go live? Always late to the show. Yeah, so go ahead and ring that bell on my channel. There's a notification bell. It should be next to the stream, hopefully. I can't exactly see it on my stream setup, but if you just go to the Puget Sound Stormwatch main channel and ring the bell on the page, you can select your notification preferences, such as when I go live. Someone says, I worked for FEMA for 6 years, spent a lot of time looking at various models. I appreciate your great work. Not too shabby. How neat to see, thank you. Appears to be hanging on at 978 millibars still. So yeah, here's our incoming low pressure system. Currently at 978 millibars according to the European model. The ECMWF for technical terms. Watch the wind and precipitation move across the parking lot, smack my apartment building. The wall of white, it was insane. Yeah, we do get those occasional downbursts during thunderstorms, where you can actually see the sheet of rain and small hail come in ahead of time. I do have quite a bit of drone video that I captured over the last couple of years that still hasn't made it public yet. Eventually, I will get to making this public. You know, I posted some previews on my Facebook subscriber page already. That was several months ago, though, during the March 26th event. But there's a lot before that, too, including August 17th, 2024, where I got the huge incoming shelf cloud coming in, and that inspired my design for my Let Me Take a Selfie shirt here. So this image here was taken on August 17th of the incoming shelf cloud associated with the lightning that we had that night. Yeah, this was taken 400 feet above the ground looking to the southeast. I'd like to say. This is southeast, yeah. But really, really cool shelf cloud on there. And then the Stratus Quo was looking towards the southwest, towards the Tacoma Dome. You look closely on here, you can actually see the Tacoma Dome back here. This is looking approximately west-southwest. There was an incoming cell coming in this day. And you can see the rain shaft here as well. This rain shaft did eventually move right over my house and absolutely soaked the drone. So I had to have a little premature landing over my house. As I was landing, you could see the raindrops falling around the drone. And at 60 frames per second, it looked really cool in slow motion. But yeah, these images that I use for the most part are from drones. From my Mini 3 Pro DJI. Also, like to give a huge shout out. I gave a shout out earlier, but once again, thank you, Sherry Wilcox, for your donation of 5 coffees 13 days ago, and James Alexander for your donation of 4 coffees 11 hours ago. These are both subscribers to my Facebook page as well. So, MVPs right there, for sure. Also on Patreon as well. I'd like to thank Lisa Seckler for being the first to pledge for the intro forecaster tier, which is $1.99 per month. If you guys are interested, I do have more in-depth write-ups and premium posts, such as, for example, ensemble models continue to agree. This one is a premium post that I'm giving you guys quick access to right now. Notice how it says it's locked. So, just talking about how the ensemble models are still in good agreement with the strength, timing, and track of the system. Although now this has shifted a little bit towards the southeast, is favoring more of a central Vancouver Island landfall. So yeah, I posted this about an hour ago. Also cross-posted to Facebook. Textbook mid-latitude cyclone incoming. This is one of the public posts. You know, like 80% of the posts that I make on Patreon are public. It's exactly the same as my Facebook page right now. So if you're subscribed on Facebook, you don't have to subscribe again on Patreon because it's going to be like 90%, 90 to 95% the exact same content. Whoopsie, hang on. Yeah, 2017 was otherworldly, for sure. I don't think we've ever had a better synoptic setup for storms than that. Like, we had a pretty gnarly lightning event on September 7th, 2019 as well. I remember being outside and just seeing hundreds, hundreds of lightning bolts, whether it be cloud to cloud or cloud to ground strikes, for several hours. Like, in terms of lightning, that was the best lightning event I've ever seen. But the best overall severe setup that we've seen, at least in recent memory, was May 4th, 2017. I remember it was my dad's 35th, no, it was my dad's 39th birthday that year. And unfortunately, I was a kid who was foaming over weather, so yeah, sorry, Dad. I wasn't really into the whole birthday thing that year. But hey, I did make it up to you in the future, so just nerding out. The one day I had a chance to nerd out, I took advantage of it. And before March of 26 that year, that was the last time that the Seattle County morning area had a severe thunderstorm watch in effect for parts of it. During May 4th, there was a severe watch for Pierce County southward along the I-5 corridor. So Pierce, Thurston, Lewis, Cowlitz, Clark, and Skamania counties had severe watches in effect that day. Really, the only difference with 2025 was King County was also included. But of course, we all know how that went. Epic failure. Yeah, so in comparison between the two high-res models I use, looks like peak time for the NAM 3KM is around 7 p.m. tomorrow. Peak winds around the area. 40 miles per hour along the I-5 corridor in the southwest interior. 42 for the Tacoma area, between 38 and 42. 36 for SeaTac, 37 for Everett. 50 to 52 miles per hour for San Juan Islands, 48 for Whidbey. So the NAM appears to be more conservative than the HER is for winds, at least for max wind gusts. But we shall see which model turns out victorious, if a model does turn out victorious. How about Tenino? Okay. Still have comments coming in on Facebook. When will the winds die down Wednesday night, roughly, or will it be Thursday? So, for the most part, winds are expected to last through most of Wednesday. See, as I go into midnight here Thursday, we're still getting wind gusts in the 30 to 35 mile per hour range across the South Sound, and some higher spots as you go north. See, it's even showing at least 35 mile per hour gusts as we go into early morning Thursday. So this is 5 a.m. and it's still showing areas of 30 to 35, especially along the Nisqually here. Anywhere from 35 to 40 plus in the North Sound, and 30 to 35 miles per hour across the Central Sound. So these blustery conditions aren't going to be going anywhere anytime soon. It could be as late as Thursday afternoon when the low pressure really begins to collapse in on itself, when we see relief from the winds in the area. Brittany said, I'll send some dough when I have it. Well, Brittany, thank you for your support, but you don't have to donate if you don't absolutely want to. But I do appreciate all the considerate thoughts. So my kiddos to bed. Appreciate you sharing your knowledge. Yes, Brittany, have a great night. Thank you again for tuning in. Appreciate you. Trying to also answer comments on Facebook at the same time, so sorry, please bear with me. Yeah, the comments are coming in like wildfire right now. Looks windy up here on the island. All right, for anyone just tuning in, hello, my name's Anthony. I'm the host and founder of Puget Sound Stormwatch on all social media platforms. Currently doing our second live stream of the day, talking about our incoming low pressure system. This is what it looks like on visible satellite imagery right now. Textbook steam jet and bent back occlusion. The associated cold front will be moving in later tomorrow morning, early in the afternoon, bringing a strong burst of winds across the area, and then a continued surge of winds as this low pressure center makes a close approach to Vancouver Island. However, this will substantially start to weaken beginning tomorrow afternoon at the earliest. Landfall is expected somewhere around central or northern Vancouver Island. This will continue to bring breezy conditions through Thursday morning at the earliest. This is also my second time streaming today. I did a stream earlier this morning for the morning folks. I'm doing one tonight for the afternoon folks. Just for anyone that couldn't make it in the morning time. And my Facebook's really starting to lag. Possibly still thunder and lightning with the system. Yes, entirely a possibility. I've been watching this for the last day or so. Last day plus. How some models, especially the HER, are showing a chance of thunderstorms. The NAM, once again, is a little more conservative on it. It has some moderate showers, but not much for thunderstorm activity. More so compared to the HER 3KM. Go back to the 0Z real quick. The HER 3KM is much more robust on storm activity. This is around early Wednesday morning, late Tuesday night. So may be able to see some lightning flashes if you look out west overnight hours Tuesday and the Wednesday. Perhaps even some as the sun goes down Tuesday afternoon as well. It'll be interesting to see if the HER over or under does this activity, because the HER has done pretty alright in the past showing a lot of this activity, albeit a little more coverage than what this predicted before. For example, our storm event that we had a few weekends back. Both the HER and NAM underdid the coverage of the activity, but it pretty much nailed the intensity of it. And the timing was pretty close as well. So some of this could be a little bit more widespread than what the models are showing. But we will have to see in due time. Yeah, I'm gonna have to refresh my Facebook. It is really starting to lag now. Alright, let me see if I can overlay a couple of alerts we have here, because I do have some alerts in from the National Weather Service in Seattle. So first of all, Sonia, welcome back to the stream. Hopefully there will be storms here in Marysville. Anyways, first we have the wind advisory in effect. Oh, this is for the north and central coast, including Grays Harbor County, Jefferson County, and Clallam County. From 11 a.m. to 8 p.m. tomorrow, wind gusts to 45 miles per hour. This includes cities such as Nia Bay, Queets, La Push, Westport, Ocean Shores, and Quileute. The same is in effect for San Juan County, except from 2 p.m. to 11 p.m., so a little bit later on in the day, with wind gusts up to 45 miles per hour, including Friday Harbor. This also includes Lopez Island, Orcas Island, Shaw Island, San Juan Island, etc. So, wind advisories for these two spots shown in red. Then we also have the high surf advisory in effect for the northern and central coast as well. This is from 11 a.m. to 5 a.m. it's 5 a.m. Thursday. So this is in effect for almost 48 hours. So from 11 a.m. tomorrow to 5 a.m. Thursday, breaking waves of 14 to 18 feet possible along the coast. Sorry about that. So, and we got an update saying it remains in effect. Still in effect from 11 a.m. tomorrow to 5 a.m. Thursday. Just a reminder, this is from the north coast all the way down to the central coast, where it meets Pacific County. This is where the Portland County warning area cuts off from the Seattle County warning area. So Seattle is Grays Harbor County and Lewis County. Everything south and west is the Portland County warning area, which may or may not have their own alerts in effect right now. Judging from what I see, they do not have any alerts for Pacific County at this time. And I was looking on the weather under map earlier. I was trying to pull up my sensor, but it wasn't working out for me. Let's see. This was the fire map earlier. Let me refresh the fire map again. They saw that the Bear Gulch had grown quite a bit. Yeah, so the Bear Gulch is at 20,185 acres, still at 5% containment. Funnel Creek is up to 581, no containment. Sugarloaf, thankfully, is up to 47% containment now, up from 32. So it would appear that that rain has really helped out today, big time. Not much improvement for the Labor Mountain, though. Labor Mountain still remains a 7% containment. Has increased to over 35,000 acres, as well across the other side of Blewett Pass now. If we don't get any relief quick, then this will be on the outskirts of Wenatchee city limits in a matter of weeks. Just depending on the weather pattern over October or so. Then Wildcat has grown quite a ways towards the northeast. 14,133 acres, 6% containment. This was updated 3 hours ago. The previous update before that was 11,624. Jeez, man. It's grown almost 3,000 acres in the last day. That is gnarly. Not good news for them. Very unfortunate. Okay, so the low has strengthened a little bit. It's at 977 millibars now. As of the most recent update. Seems some moderate rain showers in the Tacoma area right now. Moderate to heavy going up into the foothills. Moderate to heavy over parts of Skagit, Whatcom, San Juan, and Island counties. All moving towards the north-northeast at this moment. Yeah, central pressure in the incoming storm system is now 977 millibars. So really, really strong system off the coast right now. I do also have a hunch that this cold front here moving in is what's going to save us from a strong easterly wind event from this as well. Also because the cold front from today is still moving through. So if we didn't have that cold front move through today, we probably would have had a greater threat of some east winds coming out of the Cascade Gaps. It's nowhere near as intense as the bomb cyclone last November though. But still noticeable winds out of the east. It looks like the combination of this incoming front ahead of the storm as well as today's front that's still moving out is what's sparing us from easterly winds in some spots. It looks like we're making a close push towards the big 24K mark. We've been really slow in growth the last week or so, like tremendously slow, like only a few followers a day. But we're at 23,888 followers on Facebook. We're only 112 away from the big 24K mile marker. I have a hunch that we'll hit that after the system's all said and done. And then after that, we make the run towards the huge 25K. On YouTube, we're at 466 subscribers, 34 away from 500. So for anyone just coming in, hello, my name's Anthony. Welcome to the live stream. Streaming a little bit late tonight. We're just watching the area of low pressure off the coast. It has recently deepened down to 977 millibars of central pressure. But this will begin to rapidly weaken as it moves towards Vancouver Island tomorrow. Will you be going live tomorrow during the storm? It's a possibility. It just depends on what things look like tomorrow outside of my house. And by that, I mean how things are going at my parents' house. Because I usually visit my parents' house on a daily or bi-daily basis. It just depends on how things go there, really. But I do intend to stream at least once, either tomorrow or Wednesday as this system moves in. So if you guys want to know when I go live on YouTube, go ahead and hit that bell for notifications. I thought I would have the ability to simulcast to Facebook and YouTube, but I can't do that without quite a hefty premium. Either a monthly or annual premium with my software. So for the time being, unless it's a milestone, like a milestone following on Facebook, for example, every 1,000 followers or so, then I'm going to keep the streaming to YouTube for now. Although Facebook does have better monetization options, such as the star system. Not quite there on YouTube yet. So if anyone... sorry about that. So if anyone wants to help out by donating, I do have a few ways of doing that. I have the Patreon page, which I'll post in the comment section. Also have the Puget Sound Stormwatch store if you guys are interested in picking up any shirts, sweatshirts, or anything for the fall season. Currently have 5 designs on here, several options. Also have my donation page for coffees here. So this is coffee.com/Puget Sound Stormwatch. Give a huge shout out again to Sherry Wilcox and James Alexander for your one-time donations. So they've currently bought me 9 coffees total. All donations go towards helping grow the page, so thank you all again for your consideration. I will admit that finances are pretty tight at the moment, so haven't really been able to get out and do as much as I wanted to. You know, in combination of having some vehicle issues as well as gas prices. Because I drive a really inefficient 6-cylinder vehicle, a 3.0, so it's not doing so well on gas mileage at the moment. It's got a fuel injector that's acting up, like badly acting up, and will result in a random cylinder misfire from time to time, but it's become a lot more frequent now, so I really don't drive out of the immediate area unless I absolutely have to. But anyways, any of these donations will definitely help to afford gas money as well as repairs to the storm chasing vehicle, as I like to call it. So I do appreciate any considerations for that, although it's not a requirement. I'm not going to beg by any means. I've gotten a lot of feedback from, well, a little bit of feedback. Gotten feedback from 1 or 2 people who were non-followers, by the way, who have criticized me for begging, and I quote, for money, which is not true. Not true by any means. And the only reason I'm able to do this full time is because of subscriptions and donations for the most part. But even then, things are starting to get really, really tight here at the office. Worst comes to worst, I will definitely have to hop back into the job market. But if I don't have to, I'd rather stay full-time here on the web, giving full-time weather information to everyone watching right now. But anyways, enough with the finances, back to the weather. Thank you guys for allowing me to be transparent with all of you. Just like to make sure that everyone knows what's going on and nothing's being withholded or I could not think of the word. Oh, any gatekeeping. Make sure there's no gatekeeping on here. It would be nice if I could get the 6Z to come out soon. But we're just relying on the 0Z right now. It's the HER 3KM showing lightning flash intensity. Let me see what the Euro lightning flash intensity shows as well. Because the Euro was picking up on some lightning flashes around this area too. Yeah, very similar story. Has lightning flashes mainly in the southwest interior and parts of the North Sound. This is at 1 p.m. on Wednesday. It has abundant lightning flashes around the area. This is on an hourly basis. And even another chance of lightning flashes around the area as we go into Thursday afternoon, too. With that area of low pressure still hanging off the coast, hanging on for dear life. Then after that, nothing. This is most unstable Cape. Very favorable elevated instability as we go into Thursday afternoon. Most of the, okay, same with Wednesday afternoon as well. Favorable levels of elevated instability around the area. That'll certainly help with our storm chances. And we have quite a gap on surface dew points though, so we can get any elevated activity going, we'll certainly have a chance for some storms, but surface-based conditions aren't looking stellar at the moment. Always a troll on every Storm Chaser's YouTube or other social media accounts. Oh yeah, 100%. And all I gotta say is, you know you've made it if you start getting the trolls and the spammers and the bots regularly. Like, if you've seen on my page from time to time, you may occasionally get a reply from a bot. I make sure to immediately block them from the face of the earth. Like, the moment that I see the spam posts start going out. Yeah, favorable moisture today. Let me zoom out. I'm trying to see if we have any signals of an atmospheric river coming in. It certainly appear as if extreme southern Oregon and northern California does get an atmospheric river out of this storm system. Yeah, it's showing a strong atmospheric river signal for central California, including the Silicon Valley, Monterey Bay, and areas all the way down to Santa Barbara. Here's our spin up here, and it just has this huge area of way above normal precipitable water anomalies over California. But then a huge swath of dry air comes in. This could possibly be a ridge signal as well. It's like right on the transition between the ridge and the trough. It has another upper level cutoff low over the desert southwest, which once again merges back with the jet stream and joins the upper level flow. Yeah, surface patterns are indicative of surface level ridging. Upper level patterns are right on the border of ridge and trough, though. So, we'll see if the next run of the European gets this ridge established over the area. Now, previous runs do want to establish the ridge, as in the last 12Z run here. Would be like right on the cusp of, for a short time at least, some more peaceful weather. And then it swings this deep trough in from the north. And then has, oh, it's interesting, has another trough split from that main flow. Becomes two troughs. One gets flung out into Canada, and then the other one hangs over the area for a while. Be interested to see what that signal looks like. perhaps elevated thunderstorm risk, maybe. For some areas, at least. Not looking real confident right now. But the initial signal is out there right now on the European. Yeah, there's our current system that we're watching. Has on the European has a peak strength of 973 millibars at 5 p.m. tomorrow. So eventually, if it hasn't already, the storm system's really going to slow down its eastward propagation and come to a near stall off the coast. Then the bottom end of this cold front, as it swirls around the low center, is going to bring in that precip and wind as soon as the later hours of tomorrow morning. And eventually, this system's going to slowly propagate in towards the east and then fizzle out, most likely somewhere between Cape Flattery and northern Vancouver Island. And just like that, gone. Yeah, seeing some reluctant people on Facebook. You know, I do understand the doubts for sure. There's been a few times where we've cried wolf and nothing ever happened. But, you know, that's just the science behind it. All right, closing in on 10 o'clock. Probably going to wrap up the stream here in a few minutes, depending on if we get any more comments or questions. Does anybody watching the chat right now have any concerns they'd like to address? If so, please do so by 10 o'clock, if possible. I think it should be raining right outside my window right now. Let me see again if I can pull up my weather station. Okay, so total precip over the day, 0.12 inches. Currently raining at the moment. We did have a little bit of rain a few minutes ago. Yeah, we doubled our rainfall for the day just in the last hour. .57 degrees, 56-degree dew point, humidity 98%. Pressure's hanging on pretty steady around 1,000 millibars right now. Haven't seen much of a decrease, if anything more of an increase. This shows it in inches of mercury. Just the way weather operates can change constantly. Perfect example, 2 tropical systems in the Atlantic. Yes, because we all remember a few days ago it had a direct landfall for parts of South Carolina, Georgia, North Carolina. And then it took a bounce right back out to sea. A short little pause and then a eastward bounce back out to sea. That's just how fluid these events are. Okay, so we're getting some more rain at the office again. Up to 0.13 inches on the day now. And radar certainly supports that right now. Some heavier showers up here up north. Bellingham's probably getting some beneficial heavy rain right now. But the central pressure of the incoming system remains at 977 millibars. Models show this getting down to about 974 or so, 974 to 976 at peak intensity before making landfall. This should landfall somewhere in the 1001 to 1004, so 1001 to 1004 millibar pressure range, which would spare a lot of this area from any damaging winds. If this were to move in at full intensity right now, we'd be talking about a memorable windstorm for months to come. But the good thing is that will not happen. It's still just a remarkable amount of agreement among the models. Like, you don't usually see agreement this good, this often. All the ensembles and the deterministics have it in almost the exact same spot, plus or minus like 20 miles. This is all for the same time also. The differences come when you go to the landfalling location and time. There's a little bit more of a spread on this. Yeah, the ensembles are quite a bit different. But still, superior confidence in the next 24 hours or so. Because it really has this storm hanging out in about a 100-mile vicinity over the next 24 hours before it slowly starts to creep towards the east and fizzles out into nothingness right off the coast. Okay, guys, we are a few minutes away from 10 o'clock. Been on the stream for a little over an hour and a half. Thank you all for 12 likes on the stream. Pretty safe to say that we beat the morning stream for sure. Morning stream did pretty well, but the afternoon stream definitely had better numbers overall. So I appreciate everyone for tuning in tonight. Anyone has any last minute questions, comments, or concerns, please leave them down below. Looking to wrap things up in the next couple minutes. Assuming we don't have a huge increase of numbers in that time. Sherry says, thank you again for all the info. Yes, thank you again, Sherry, for being a very supportive fan. Much appreciated. Could not be able to do this full time without people like you. Sonia says, thank you. Yes, thank you as well, Sonia, for tuning in. So if we turn off all layers right now. And this is what the current visible satellite looks like over the area. That's some textbook satellite imagery goodness right there. Be fascinating to see what it looks like in the afternoon time tomorrow when it hits peak intensity, or at least it's forecasted to hit peak intensity. All right, everyone, it's 10 o'clock. We're going to wrap things up. Have a great night, everybody. Thanks again for all of your support and tuning in. This was Anthony with Puget Sound Stormwatch. Once again, another live stream today. Just got a new updated scan right there. And almost the exact same. The remnants of the front are moving through right now, and then a brief period of clearing between the next front. And then we get really back into the action. So, once again, have a great night, everybody. We'll see you guys probably tomorrow. Most likely, I'll be on live either tomorrow or Wednesday. So, if you guys want to be notified when I go live, go ahead and ring that bell on my channel. Take it easy, everyone.